Morning, folks. This is our last daily devotion on the subject of the fear nots of the Bible. And I want to take you to the book of Daniel this morning. But before doing that, let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel, whenever you're praying, that your prayers are simply being spoken into the air? That they're only reaching the ceiling of your house? That no one is listening? Many of us as Christians have felt that, and if we're being honest, continue to feel that at times. This fear knot that we're going to think about today is a wonderful antidote to that. Daniel had been giving himself to prayer for God's people. He had been praying for weeks. We don't know exactly what he had been asking God, but we do know that he was earnest in his prayers. And after 3 weeks of praying and no answer, I'm sure Daniel wondered, was God listening? In chapter 10 and verse 12 of the book of Daniel, we read the following. Then he said to me, "Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and humble yourself before your God, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words." Daniel's words had been heard from the first day that he set himself to seek God. The answer to his prayer was delayed some 3 weeks before this angel of the Lord came and spoke to him to give him assurance of God's plans for his people. But although his answer was delayed, it was not denied. Sometimes when we pray, we have to be prepared for God to say to us, "Wait." And in the waiting time, we must continue to give ourselves to prayer. Perhaps you've been praying for years for a loved one to be saved. Perhaps you've been praying for some time that God would work in a wonderful way in our congregations and in our community. Perhaps you've been praying for personal growth in the things of God. And yet to date, you haven't seen much by way of answer to those prayers. God is listening, and God hears. And everything that we ask, which is ultimately for God's glory, God will bring about. What he says to Daniel, he says to us as we, on our knees, sincerely seek God. Fear not. Your words have been heard. What a wonderful encouragement. From the first day that you set your heart to understand and humble yourself before God, your words have been heard. Here is a great encouragement for us to be men and women of prayer. May God grant that we may be such. Amen.